with Johnny Berry. How he survived, I wouldn't know. And next to him was the great Edwards, and I sat with him for a while. He was sort of semi-conscious, and he turned his head and said, "You're Jimmy." And he said, "What time's the kick-off tomorrow?" Poor fellow.
Now that boy was mortally wounded, mortally injured, and the first thing he was thinking about was playing for United. Now that explains Duncan Edwards' character better than any words of mine. And then this particular morning, 17 days I think it was, but anyway, Dr. Graham Taylor of the BEA, as it then was, came in the room. He was talking to Jackie Blatchflower next bed to me, and as he got to the door, it's inscribed on my mind forevermore. As he turned the door, he just said, "I think you'll be able to stand the shock, but don't tell Matt. I'm afraid that Duncan couldn't quite make it. He died early this morning." Now, when he said that, that was the first time I thought, I can't live. If Duncan Edwards can't survive, how can I survive? Selfish attitude. And I felt as though I was going straight through the bed. And then Jackie was shouting, he was crying. And I said, "There's no use, Jackie, he's gone. You've got to get yourself well, son."
And I heard someone say Duncan Edwards had died. I knew something terrible had happened. My wife, who was there, I said to her, "You have to tell me what has happened. This is making me worse." So I went on through the names. She either nodded her head or lifted her head like that, which meant that one was saved, the other was dead. Why did I take the club into Europe? Why would we go on the plane? I remember my first reaction was never to have anything to do with football again. And this was my mind in my mind. And my wife went again, come along one of these days and said, if these boys had to say that it's passed on, they would want you to carry on.
No one realised I went through hell, come back, and I had no one to talk to, really. Plenty of people around, but I'm talking at my 11 in soccer. I had to find a team of 11. We played Sheffield Wednesday first at Old Trafford. The Sheffield team were in, obviously, in the programme, but when I was Manchester United, there was no names at all. Because the team, we didn't know what the team would be, and etc., etc. But they locked the gate. There were 66,000 here on the ground. The enthusiasm was terrific, terrific.
Billy Fuchs wins the toss for Manchester United against Sheffield Wednesday. And it's the most dramatic game Busby's Babes have ever played. Wednesday and the striped shirts kick off. Less than a fortnight after the Munich air crash, the Babes are fielding a scratch side for a fifth-round FA Cup tie. And apart from Fuchs himself, the only member of the original team is goalie Harry Gregg. Now the United forwards are on the attack, and that was nearly it. Brennan takes the corner, and it's in. Pearson shot rebounds, but Seamus Brennan's there to land a beauty. 20-year-old Brennan was only included a few hours before the match, his first big game ever, and he scored 2 goals. 17-year-old Mark Pearson has the ball. Alec Dawson's ready to receive, and there's number 3. So Professor Maurer and 30 of his colleagues come to England to be welcomed by the Lord Mayor of Manchester and their hosts, Manchester United Football Club, which owes them so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking from my bed in the Iser Hospital in Munich, where I have been since the tragic accident of just over a month ago. You will be glad, I'm sure, to know that the remaining players here and myself are now considered out of danger. And this can be attributed to the wonderful treatment and attention given us by Professor Maurer and his wonderful staff who are with you today as guests of the club.
I got to the stage I was in a way, I was terrified to come and look at the ground and feel the people at that time. And as I say, the biggest obstacle, once I'd done it and I'd forced myself to do it, I had to do it. There was a sudden relief for me. It was a very trying time.
You know, it was bad enough for those of us who, I think, well, okay, I got a lot of injuries, but I mean, that was me. Just me. But here we'd got a man who'd built an ideal and just smashed right in front of him. Human lives that he'd known since they were little boys.
I would never have been surprised within a year of it happening had I turned around in a coach and saw the lads there. That was the feeling I had about it. Had I turned around in a coach, I don't think it would have shocked me. They should have been there. They were taken away so quickly and so suddenly that it didn't really sink in.
I've never discussed the crash with Sir Matt or anyone who was involved in the crash. You know. So I think we keep our own thoughts on it. We keep our own, we never discuss it. But I felt I always had something driving me on, and I'm sure it was that.
I always think back when I've been successful to how lucky I've been, and wish that the particular lads that went that are not with us anymore could have been there to share it, because they had a big part in it, because the great drive to winning the European Cup was not just for the players' own personal achievements, but probably to prove something and to make something what seemed to be right happen.
That night at Wembley, it was a crowning glory for us all. For the players that had gone in the crash, for Bobby Charlton and Bill Fox, who were members of that team, who fortunately survived, even the players, the directors, Laird was the chairman, and directors, and everybody concerned. It was a night of achievement. With the tragedy, there was joy that night. They were still only boys, really. Most of them were killed at 21 years of age. I think the country lost a team which would have been the talk of Europe and indeed the world. Certain times it comes back to me. I think that'll live with me all my life. I think they've lived forever in the history of football, because I think they actually created something in their short life in the game.
Liverpool have had the post-war greatness, but I suppose you might reflect at times that that would have been Manchester United.
That is a very difficult question to answer, because everything was going right. And we had the team, we had the players, and we were taking it in our stride and going along and winning and winning and winning. And it's difficult to know what the outcome would have been, but I know it would have been outstanding. Probably I'm leaning towards Manchester United, but the players that were there at the time were absolutely on their own.